Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hit the Ropes Radio. It is June 21st. Happy spring to all of you because the last time happy summer. Oh, because the last time it was still spring. All right. We are coming off the compelling, controversial, contrived. There's a whole lot of C words that you could use to describe the pay per view that we just witnessed on Sunday night, presented by SmackDown, WWE's Money in the Bank. When Mr. Stokes arrives, we're going to get into some of the bigger stories that have presented themselves based on the fallout from that pay per view. We'll also discuss some of the latest when it comes to this past episode of Monday Night Raw with the return of Braun Strowman, um, and we're going to now have a match between him and Roman Reigns. I'm glad that Strowman's returned. I was hoping for a little bit more. We had a good interaction between Seth and Bray Wyatt. So I think in terms of WWE wrestling wise, Monday and Tuesday night were really strong in terms of wrestling. There was a really entertaining matchup with the SmackDown rematch of Shinsuke Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler. I really enjoyed that match. Probably, probably more so than I did their original match at the last pay per view. So Stokes will be on shortly, and then we'll jump right into it. We're just gonna have, me and him are gonna go back and forth, kind of go ESPN style. So for those in the chat room, what's going on? For those who are listening and not in the chat room, thank you for listening. And get in the chat room from time to time. Let's not just have the same folks having their voices heard via us. We'll shout you out too. Hopefully, Stokes is not covered in spaghetti sauce when he enters the show, and we can get things on and popping like it's the NBA off season because that stuff is crazy. WWE is crazy, but in just a different way. Some non WWE news as we wait. Lucha Underground, that's back. I finally watched an episode from that aired a couple weeks ago. So shout out to Lucha Underground for being back. For those who have not been paying attention, we are on season 3 right now. You can catch the first 2 seasons on Netflix. Mr. Stokes, thank you for postponing your dinner.
Oh man, it was delicious too. But anything for the
I
Nebula.
cannot hear you,
Can you,
Stokester.
can you hear me? No. Uh-oh.
Why can't I hear you?
1 second.
Mm. Technical difficulties.
Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me at all? Huh.
I think you're purposely sabotaging your microphone so you can go and eat your food. Fix your mic, man. Nope, can't hear you. My mic is good. My volume is good. Hello? Nope, still can't hear you. Maybe you got to hold up a sign like Wile E. Coyote. We can do this whole show like that. I don't know. Can you can hear me, right? Okay, I can't hear you, brother. Yeah, man, just wanted to find a way to get some more food. So apparently people are hearing Stokes. I'm not hearing Stokes. Okay. I don't know what's going on. So apparently people are hearing Stokes. I'm not hearing Stokes. Okay, well, I'm hearing sound on my end. I'm not certain what is going on here. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen.
No? Hold on. Can you hear me? But I can't hear you. As I'm sweating profusely because Shane's making me nervous with all of his technical difficulties. I don't even know what Shane was talking about. I came on. You can hear me? You can hear me? But I can't hear you now. I can't hear you at all. We're going to get it together, people. We're going to get it together. Apparently, Shane, according to those in the chat room, you are invisible and muted. So I don't know what you got going on in the Reading Rainbow Studios over there, but apparently you're having some technical difficulties. We appreciate you guys' patience, though. Please bear with us. Shane's trying to get it together. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat room. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to HD. Shout out to Jay Young. Appreciate it. We're going to get it together here in just a moment. Because Shane is not only is he a teacher, he's an IT technician as well. Apparently not. So Shane, I can still see you. I don't know that everybody in the chat room. It sounds like everybody in the chat room cannot. I can see you. No, I can read lips. No, I cannot hear you, but I can hear you asking if I can hear you. LeVar Burton is awesome, Daniel. He is. He is a legend in childhood learning, Reading Rainbow. All right. I think he is. Shane has signed off. He's going to try and I guess sign back on. Give me a thumbs up in the chat room if you guys still can hear me, and we'll get some conversation going. Just real quick. I know Shane was kind of kind of engineering thing. So let me know if you guys can still hear me. As there's this awkward silence here. All right, sweet. Everybody can still see me. They can still hear me. I guess I'm gonna drive this ship solo for hopefully a brief moment. I don't know where Shane left off or what he was talking about when I joined in on the show, but maybe some of you guys in the chat room can steer me in the right direction. I don't want to stop his train of thought if he was saying something good. Wait a minute.
I'm back to not being able to hear him.
Now he can't hear me. What the heck? You can't hear me. But I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We're on, baby. Yes. I was going to say I didn't want to do this show by myself. I mean, I could have, but, you know, it'd have been an evening with the Stokester.
I mean, we lost 10 minutes. You didn't have to talk much longer.
Yeah. I didn't say a whole lot either. I was other than, can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Right. So we're back in business. I didn't know where you had started, so I was asking the guys in the chat room to kind of steer me in the right direction. So
I didn't really go anywhere. I was just simply, mentioning the fact that Lucha Underground is back for those who have not been paying attention.
You see, Hot Dog makes a reference to me getting dunked on by my son in the chat room. That's why I am laughing.
Oh, I thought that's why you were sweating profusely.
Yes, that, and yeah, I just came from outside too. I was running around. It's trash day, so I was doing a little extra too. So yes, I am sweating, and nobody will cut on the air in my studio, aka my home. But hopefully I'll stop sweating. But yeah, thanks for referencing me getting dunked on, HD, in the chat room. I appreciate it. If we can get a screenshot for those that in the chat room that might want to see it, I may post it. I don't know if we can post pictures, but I digress. Let's talk some wrestling.
All right, let's jump right into this Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We'll cut out all that technical difficulty stuff in the
podcast.
Yes. The podcast, we will never hear about that.
Yep. Welcome to Hit the Ropes Radio. This is, episode, what are we on? 341.
341. Yeah. All right. So let's Money in the Bank. I want you, because the biggest thing out of the pay-per-view was the finish of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Yeah. I want you to tell me why the finish that we saw was a bad idea. Convince me that it was a bad idea to go that route. As many have pointed out.
Well, that's easy. 2 words, and he's a former guest of the show, James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth screwed it up for everybody. We were, and everybody's talked about it in the chat room. Everybody's mentioned it online and everywhere else. We had this opportunity to have this big, huge, historic moment. And basically what we got is Santino Marella at the that Battle Royal back at that WrestleMania some years ago when she won the Battle Royal. I mean, James Ellsworth, I know he's kind of Carmella's flunky, kind of fanboy, whatever. But I just think it just took away from what was being hyped up and pushed as this historic thing, the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And it was tainted, man. I don't care how WWE officials tried to clean it up. Triple H went on some interviews and was trying to do some damage control. I don't care about any of that involving James Ellsworth. Now, had he interfered in some other way, and maybe got involved in the match, not to the extent of actually climbing the ladder, grabbing the briefcase and handing it and throwing it to Carmella. Had he got involved in some other way, during the match and he got thrown through a table or through a ladder, that would have been great. That would have been fine. But to have him climb the ladder, grab it, throw it to Carmella, and then she win that way, it was just a horrible, horrible way to, to welcome in or try to bring in what was supposed to be this big historic thing, which is the Money in the Bank, the women's ladder match. So it was a terrible finish. It shouldn't have been done that way.
I hear that. And I'm gonna argue why it was an okay call. It was a fine call. I can see why they did it. Now, Money in the Bank ladder match has always been, one of those matches that people look forward to every year. It's like the Royal Rumble. People look forward to it. You're gonna see some of your favorite wrestlers. You're hoping that somebody gets their first chance at possibly winning the world title by getting the briefcase. So here we have the women now, because all the time before it was the men. Now it's the women having their shot at establishing history. And it has to be memorable. It has to be something that people are going to be talking about forever. And as much as people are crying foul and all of this, what they did was make people talk about what happened. No matter what year we're going to be in, as long as WWE is still around and we have more WWE women Money in the Bank ladder matches, they're always going to be able to go back to, do you remember the first ladder match? Oh yeah, this happened. It's memorable. Controversy creates cash. This was memorable. If the ladies just had the match and James Ellsworth got involved, we all knew James Ellsworth was going to get involved. Myself and Max said that he was going to get involved. Now, if he got involved, the ladies took care of him, that's predictable. We all expected that. But if any of those women won the match, just as a standard Money in the Bank ladder match, it's not memorable. Whether it was Carmella, Becky, Tamina, it would just been like, oh my God, Carmella won. Oh my God, Tamina won. Most of us expected it to be either Charlotte or Becky. So for if the only surprise would have been if one of those other ladies won. But now we have, oh my God, this woman won, and it's because this guy went up there and got the briefcase for her. What I see it as was the man not overshadowing the woman, but the man being at the beck and call of the woman. I see James Ellsworth as the submissive here. Not to get all 50 Shades of Grey, but I see him as the submissive here to Carmella. Because all the time we see women valets, women managers, women, in Lana's case, women mouthpieces. Here's a man being the valet, being the stooge of a woman. It's new. So for that, I don't have a problem with it.
Nice try, Shane. I'll give you an A for effort, man. You really, really tried. And you made some valid points. Some I agree with. It is rare and uncommon, and I can't recall it ever happening. Maybe outside of, the whole Santino Marella, Beth Phoenix thing, where the male was the kind of the secondary or the bit character to, the main character being the lady. However, we're supposed to be in this era of women's wrestling or era of just athletics and sports and really all facets of life, right? Where women can do anything that a man can do, right? Women can do anything that a man can do. WWE has been, pushing the whole women's revolution, and now, let them fight and women can really wrestle and all of that. And then you give them this golden opportunity to showcase what they have, and you taint it with James Ellsworth. I'm sorry. I don't think you can put put makeup on a pig as well as you tried to do in this scenario. I think the whole thing was just jacked up. It was a messed up finish. It was kind of a slap in the face to the whole women's revolution. I know some people in the chat room saying WWE does a great job, kind of trolling. And I know their mindset is probably any publicity is good publicity, whether it's good or bad, because obviously people are talking about it, right? That's what WWE wants. It's very controversial. Everyone's talking about it. So in that regard, it's probably a win for them. But for for the people who were really looking forward to seeing the women shine, it was kind of a slap in the face, man. I don't know how else to put it. I know Al Snow, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't follow Al Snow on Twitter. I think Jim Ross actually retweeted it. But he was basically, I don't know if this was in response to that match, the women's Money in the Bank match, or just wrestling in general. But he said something to the effect of, remember when you were a wrestling fan and you didn't know kind of the ins and outs of, the business, that maybe we're some of the things that we're privy to now that maybe we didn't know back when we were younger and naive and wrestling fans. He said, we need to go back to being those type of wrestling fans. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that was in response to the whole everybody kind of being up in arms about the Money in the Bank thing, or if it was just him talking about wrestling in general. But it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to do that when you do learn, some of the ins and outs. And with that being said, man, I think, James Ellsworth is a former guest of HTR. And so I respect him in that regard, but I was pissed with the finish, man. I didn't like it.
As even though we're disagreeing, we're seeing different viewpoints on the finish of that match, I totally agree with the Al Snow thing. And as you said, it's kind of hard to go back to that. It's kind of hard to go back to, I guess you can call it that innocent time in your life, right, those innocent periods, because when I look at wrestling, all I'm thinking about is the fact that, I have access to all these dirt sheets and I talk to all you people on the internet and all this other stuff. So, we kind of feel like we know a little bit more than just the average fan. So when I talk to like my old boss, who's this 60-year-old guy who still follows wrestling, and he doesn't do the pay-per-views, so I have to call him every Monday to let him know the results. He's still a guy who he cheers for all the baby faces. So, while I might be a Brock Lesnar fan and all of this because Brock is in there breaking shit, and same thing with Braun Strowman. When I call him and I'm like, yeah, Braun Strowman beat up Roman Reigns and won the match, he's like, oh my God, I hate that Braun Strowman guy. And he's like, dude, what he's one of those innocent minds. It would be awesome if we can go back to that, but it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, indeed, I agree. It's very hard to. It is.
All right. Now we talked about James Ellsworth being a former guest of HTR. Money in the Bank had other former guests of HTR. One of our, I think, favorite interviews of all time.
Yes.
The debut of Maria Kanellis and Mike cross through Bennett, Mike Kanellis. Okay, I'm going to tell you why I feel it's a good reason, a good idea for him to come out as Mike Kanellis. And I want you to tell me why the WWE is screwing the pooch by having him have her last name. And the reason why I have to say I dig this and I go for this move is it backs up my argument with Carmella winning via James Ellsworth assistance. You have here another case where a man is not overshadowing the woman. The man is by the woman or behind the woman because he is not being known as Mike Bennett on WWE TV. He's going to be known as Mike Kanellis, even though on Twitter, for those who followed him, all the time before and her, you've always seen Bennett as the last name. In in TNA, he went as the Miracle Mike Bennett. In ROH, he was Mike Bennett. But she's the bigger star. She's the bigger star. She's the better talker. She was in the WWE before. And for those fans who remember her back then, they would know her as Maria Kanellis. So I'm all for this move. I think it's another one where it's all about the woman being, seen as an equal or sometimes as a superior. Tell me why it's a bad idea.
Oh boy. Well, see, you put me in a position where I'm gonna be like the male chauvinist here, and everybody's gonna go on it. The ladies watch this show, they're gonna hate Stokes and all of that. Thanks a lot, Shane. I appreciate it, but I just put it to you this way: I'm a married man. I ain't taking my wife's last name. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I get it. It's the whole, okay, we live in this progressive society now. And, I just saw a picture, and you probably saw it too because it was floating around on social media where the lady proposed to the dude. Did you catch that picture floating around? The lady actually proposed instead of waiting on her proposal. She actually proposed to her boyfriend.
And I mean, Paige proposed to Alberto too. So
yeah, so I get it. It's the whole progression thing, but call me old-fashioned, Shane. Call me an old-fashioned traditional guy that when a man and a woman get married, the woman takes the last name of the husband. I don't say that to imply that a woman is inferior to a man because my wife certainly don't take a back seat to me at all. I mean, you know that, Shane. You friends with her on Facebook. She doesn't take a back seat to me at all. But at the same time, I get the logic why WWE did it. So again, this is one of those scenarios where like you kind of agree with me with the finish of the Money in the Bank ladder match. I kind of, even though I'm taking the opposite side, which I'm really not taking, I kind of agree with you in the sense that Maria is a former WWE superstar. Only really diehard wrestling fans know who Mike Bennett is. The casual WWE fan probably is more familiar with her than they are with Mike Bennett. Now, here's the crazy part, right? Maria, during her first stint in WWE, she just went by Maria. So most casual WWE fans probably believe that Mike, Kanellis' last name, Maria took his last name anyway. And I bet that's probably what WWE was thinking. Or maybe I'm giving them too much credit. But I'm thinking their logic was, okay, Maria, when she was here the first time, she went solely by her first name, Maria. Now she's coming back with this dude, and they're Maria and Mike Kanellis. The casual WWE fan is probably going to be like, oh, she got married. Her last name is Kanellis. Wait, what do you think about that theory? I mean, I don't know. I think I'm on to something.
You know what? You made a good point. She did just go by Maria. I'm not even sure because I'm not a Playboy, purveyor. But did they even mention her last name in the Playboy? Was she just called Maria?
I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't. My wife's in the kitchen too, man. I didn't read that issue. I did, being a man of the cloth now, I don't partake in those things kind of anymore. But I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, all right. Sticking with them, I found it kind of strange that SmackDown aired last night, and after they made their debut on the pay-per-view, we went 2 hours on Tuesday night, and Mike and Maria never showed up. I found that kind of strange.
That is very strange. Actually, I actually did not even pay attention to that, which maybe speaks to how impactful their debut was. I mean, I was excited to see him. I'm glad that they're part of WWE and on SmackDown, because I did um, kind of get familiar with Mike Bennett and Maria and some of the work that they did, especially in ROH. I thought it was really good. I didn't pay as much attention to it in TNA, but yeah, I thought it was very interesting that they were not on last night's episode of SmackDown. I wonder why. Maybe some other obligation they had to fulfill. I don't
Apparently,
know.
they were. Daniel is stating in the chat room that they were on during commercial.
Oh, come on. What? During a commercial?
Yeah, because SmackDown now doesn't
Yeah,
always go to commercial,
yeah.
which I like.
They do like the split screen thing. I hear wrestlers actually hate that. I think it was Ryback, our favorite guy.
Of
Ryback has an opinion about everything, right? But I think it was Ryback that said the commercial breaks is usually when kind of the wrestlers kind of take it easy, kind of go through the match slow, kind of go through the motions. Um, and so he hates the fact that they have like the split screen now, and they have to actually wrestle on commercial breaks now. But yeah, I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch.
Ryback that you have to work at your job. I'm sorry. You can't relax. Jeez. Whatever. Kills all arguments.
It's going to be interesting with those two, because I think you have them on SmackDown, and you kind of have Miz and Maurice on Raw, and they kind of are similar in a way, in a sense, kind of the way that they're not their gimmick, but you kind of have, Maurice is a good talker, Miz is a good talker, Bennett's a good talker, Maria is a good talker, so now you kind of have two power couples on each brand, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare on SmackDown. I was actually surprised. Are you surprised that they did not go to NXT first?
No, I'm not. I'm not, because Maria's involvement. I think if it was just Mike, he probably would have. But I think Maria being, Maria, and I think she still has some, she's still of a higher stature. I think that's probably why they went straight to the main roster. Um, Now you mentioned those couples. You left one out. You didn't mention the free agent who's returning into John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Oh, is
And
Nikki coming back too?
she's gonna be coming back when her man is on screen. She's gonna be back soon, and the history between Maria and Nikki and Brie are not all roses and flowers and candy and all of that. There was some legit beef between the ladies back in the day. So I'm wondering, what's gonna happen if Cena stays on SmackDown, if
Hmm.
Nikki, Cena's the only person that's being touted as a free agent for some reason. So Nikki will still be on SmackDown, but I'm wondering if we'll eventually get that match, because they're trying to make SummerSlam like this big event. So we could possibly, do they go that route where we have a mixed tag match between these two couples?
Another one, huh? They just can't. Their last match before they left, Cena and Nikki Bella, was a mixed tag match at WrestleMania. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I'm hearing who did I just hear that they were talking about? Cena might be. I'm hearing Cena Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. That's what I've been hearing, but um, I
Could
guess
be,
we shall see. I guess we shall see.
could be. All right. To switch shows for a moment, let's jump over to Raw. The big angle on Raw this week was detective angle, figuring out who done it, who has been attacking Enzo and Kaz. This was an angle running throughout the 3 hours. We got the conclusion in the very last segment, and we get to the segment where Angle is going to, reveal. He's going to do this big reveal.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you're going to do this big reveal because now you already know who did it. Why the heck is he bringing out Big Show and the Revival for them to plead their case when he supposedly already knows who did it? What sense did that make?
Well, wasn't it technically Corey Graves who revealed that
I
it
didn't.
was Cass?
I was going to get to that too.
Okay. No, okay. so maybe
Angle. Yeah.
he didn't know. He didn't really know. He didn't really know.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't understand how that went down. Angle is going to reveal who did it. He brings out the suspects who he then says, "Well, I already knew they didn't do it. So why the heck did you bring them out there if you already knew they didn't do it?" And then right after he says that, he's not the one who reveals it. Corey Graves does.
Yeah, I mean, it was all a little puzzling. Although once they got to the meat of it all, I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
All right. So tell me what. All right. So you thought the segment was good, or do you also believe the end result is good?
The breakup, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have mixed. So I have the segment was good. The segment got good once Cass started like talking. And I got to give Enzo some credit. I'm not the biggest Enzo fan. Like when because believe it or not, because I didn't watch a whole lot of NXT, but I wasn't really hip to Enzo and Cass until they actually debuted on Raw. And the first couple of weeks I saw them, first few weeks I saw them, I'm like, okay, this is very catchy, this is gimmicky, this is cool. People are gonna like it. But then you start getting tired of Enzo kind of really, really quick, personally. So here's what I think. I think that I got mixed feelings on the breakup. Several weeks back, if you guys go back to the archives of Hit the Ropes Radio, I said that Cass would have a opportunity to have a good singles career. When I saw him in that, what was it, like a Fatal 4? When they did the Universal Champion thing and Kevin Owens ultimately won that, and he was one of the guys in the Fatal 4-Way, I was like, man, I could actually see Cass having a decent singles career. I just don't know what's going to happen with Enzo. That's the part that kind of has me thrown for a loop a bit, because I mean, Enzo's very charismatic, right? Enzo can talk. We all know that. But the whole thing with Cass, the whole shtick together is kind of what made it work. And I don't know that either of them can survive without each other. But I actually think that Cass might have a better opportunity at survival without Enzo than Enzo does without Cass, because Cass has the one thing that the WWE historically covets, and that size. He's a big guy. You can always put a big guy in these, kind of gimmicky matches. Enzo kind of is just, a regular dude. He doesn't wrestle exceptionally well. He doesn't, other than talk, he doesn't do anything particularly well. So it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes. Obviously, you can milk them in a feud for a couple of months. They'll probably have a match at SummerSlam against each other, whatever. Maybe even at Great Balls of Fire, I would imagine. Maybe they'll have a match. But I thought Cass's promo was really good. I thought the stuff he was saying was on point. I thought Enzo's one thug tear coming down his eye, I thought that was good. I thought that was good for dramatics. But it'll be interesting to see where their careers go going forward. I think Cass has more upside than Enzo.
Yeah. Shout out to Enzo. I want to know what he was thinking of to shed that one solitary tear, because
Yeah.
I just thought that was just exceptional. Um, and that's probably about the most praise that I'll give Enzo at this current time, because I agree with you in the sense that Enzo has worn out his welcome. I was getting annoyed with him, and I would have done exactly as Kaz did, where this guy has been pissing me off ever since he's this the whole Lana Rusev feud, where I don't see why I said this on the show, if you go back months ago, I didn't understand why this was supposed to be the baby face who is hitting on a known married woman. I was loving every single time that Enzo was getting his behind whooped. And if I was Kaz, I would be tired of fighting his battles. So I think the promo and everything by Cat was realistic, because I think anybody in his shoes would feel that same way based on how they've been making the Enzo character. Now, Kaz being 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that.
Can't
He is
teach it.
going to, he is going to, have a run as far as the WWE is willing to give him, and he's going to do as well as he does, depending on how much work he puts in. Because I don't think that he's exceptional in the ring, but he has a presence, he has that size, and he's going to have the backing, so he could do well. Enzo, on the other hand, he's a good mouthpiece. I would have preferred if you know Enzo and Kaz were like heels, and Enzo was more of the manager and not like the tag partner of Kaz. And they can always go that route later on down the line. I'm pretty sure that these two will circle back and mend fences, because we tend to see that in pro wrestling, that enemies become friends and friends become enemies, and then they go back to how it was. I'm all for Enzo being a heel mouthpiece or a face mouthpiece, but I don't want to see Enzo wrestle Kaz in this feud that we're going to see. It's just like I didn't want to see Shad and JTG wrestle when they broke up. Or Titus and Darren Young. I didn't want to see those either, because the teams were decent when they were together, and then you take two decent people and then put them against each other. I'm like, I don't want to see. I don't want to see it.
Yeah. Now,
Get
now.
Enzo to get
Oh,
somebody to
sorry. Go
fight
ahead.
his battle. Let Enzo find somebody to fight his battle for him against Kaz, where it's more realistic.
Now, the one thing I will say about Enzo and Cass, and shout out to an old friend of HTR, AKD. He made this point on Twitter, is that Enzo and Cass are over, right? They are over as a tag team. When that music hits, they get huge pops. Everybody repeats the catchphrase. Everybody spells SAWFT, even though that doesn't spell soft, but everybody does it. So it is kind of strange that they decided at this point to break them up. I don't think they had a tag team championship run in NXT. I don't think they had a tag team championship run, or I know they didn't have a tag team championship run on Raw. So it's very interesting that they broke them up at this point. And it also maybe speaks volumes to how WWE Brass actually feels about the tag team of Enzo and Cass. Maybe they weren't very high on them, because as popular as they are, you would have thought at the very least they would have had a tag team title run in NXT. And I don't think that they did. So that's very, very, very interesting, I thought. I think because they're over, generally WWE is more apt to keep those teams together a little bit longer. But it's just interesting, man, that they decided at this time to break them up.
All right. Now, sticking with Raw, let's talk about people getting together. We had Miz TV segment, which followed a Miz backstage segment, and now we have an entourage, if you will. It's like HBO comes to WWE with Entourage, as the Miz has recruited, it seems, Bo Dallas and Curtis Angle to not Curtis Angle, Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel, the Axeman.
Yeah, the Axeman. So now we have this little heel stable, if you will. How, do you like this move for Dallas and Axel?
I think I think Dallas and Axel like the move for Dallas and Axel because their careers were going absolutely nowhere. Like the Miz, when he gave him that little pep talk, that little promo, there was about 99.9% truth in that mug. He was speaking gospel. Their careers were floundering. They were going nowhere. They had nothing better to do than to dress up like those bears in that little promo and come out and agree to be a part of the Miz's entourage. It's a good move for them. It can't do anything. I mean, it certainly can't hurt them. It can do nothing but help them at this point and maybe even propel them to, to some level of significance in WWE, especially with both of those guys being, second and in Axel's case, third generation, superstars. So yeah, I think it's a good move. It kind of makes you wonder what they're going to do with Maurice. Is Maurice going to begin to wrestle again? Is she going to kind of focus on, her own singles career? What route are they going to go there? Um, so yeah, so I like the move for it for both of them. It can't do anything but help them.
I really hope Maurice is not going to be a singles wrestler. I like her. I like her in the role that she currently has. Now I'm going to give you a hard task
Oh boy.
because I took the hard task of defending that Money in the Bank finish. I want you to convince me why it's a good thing that we're still continuing this Miz Ambrose feud. Convince me why it's a
Why
good
do you
thing.
why do you always give me the bad points of view? Because first of all, I hate Dean Ambrose, so I can't convince you of this because I want it all to end. So I'm sorry, Shane. I could try to finagle the other ones you gave me, but this one I cannot. There is no realistic or reasoning that I can give. God, why is Courtney on? There is no reason that I can give for why Dean Ambrose and the Miz's feud should be continuing. It's time to move on. Let the Miz feud with someone else. It's time. It's time to move on.
All right.
Well,
Well,
I'll give
Sorry,
you the answer.
since
I
I'll
got
give you
nothing.
the answer.
wants to jump in and it's not his week, but then when it is his week, he can't
He
find the
ain't
time
you.
to.
The brother. He ain't nowhere to be found. He on the side of a milk carton. He's MIA.
Man, y'all tripping.
Since he wants to jump in, Mac, your job. Convince us why it is a good thing that The Miz is feuding with HTR's own lovable Dean Ambrose.
Well, I think the only person that is good for it is Dean Ambrose himself. Because if it was not for The Miz, Dean Ambrose would have nothing to do. There would be nobody for Dean Ambrose to feud with. It's not like they've even pushed him towards anybody else. There is nobody else. I mean, you got Roman and Seth in the main event scene. So there's absolutely nothing for Dean Ambrose to do without having him feel like, he's the misbegotten brother of the Shield, which he is. But there is no reason. It's really nothing I can do to convince you. But the reason why they're keeping him on TV is because the Miz needs a foil right now. Dean Ambrose needs something to do. Boom, put them together. Because there's really nobody else that they can put those two guys with. I guess, because if you think about it, you're either on the main event in the main event picture, because we got what 5 guys in the main event picture right now. Then you got the 205 live guys, and that's it. So you gotta have these.
The Miz has never feuded, to my knowledge. He's never feuded with Seth Rollins. The Miz has, but I guess Seth Rollins is busy with Bray Wyatt now.
Mm-hmm.
You got Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns kind of feuding with one another. Why not Finn Balor?
Because if you watch Raw on Monday,
yes, I know, but nobody cares about the Drifter dude, right? Who sings
Elias Sampson is dope, son.
Nobody. He's okay, right? But in reality,
excuse me. I need to tune my guitar here. Excuse me.
My God. What is that? A piccolo? Like, what are you? What?
I need absolute silence.
He was waiting for the moment we brought up the Drifter. He had that bad boy on standby. He couldn't wait until we brought him up. But why not Finn Balor and the Miz? That's a good feud. Why not?
Maybe because they're scared of Miz running through the hallways calling for Demon Kane like Seth Rollins did last year.
Right, and who said in the chat room, wasn't Dean Ambrose feuding with the Drifter? He could have been feuding with the Drifter. Finn Balor could feud with the Miz, and we could get something fresh, something we haven't seen before, because Dean Ambrose is so stale right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost
Thanks for taking my stuff.
Oh, sorry. He's almost as stale as Baron Corbin.
Bruh, get off the Corbin slander.
Baron Corbin is basura. He's trash.
Man, whatever.
I wrote in the chat room, and Stokes just went on a little filibuster about Miz versus Balor and Dean versus.
Did I take all your stuff? See, that's why I shouldn't be. I stole all your ideas in the chat room.
Up like I was in class when Mac was like, "Who else is he gonna face?" And I'm like, "I'm waiting for my turn."
I'm also gonna steal and bring out your piccolo next week on the next week's episode of HTR. I'm gonna be playing the guitar.
I think it's a ukulele because it says aloha. My brother gets
yeah, I think a piccolo is like a wind instrument, isn't it? I'm like totally butchering my instruments. My bad.
It's a wind instrument or a green alien from Dragon Ball Z universe.
Yes, which I'm definitely more familiar with.
Yes.
All right. Okay, well, Stokes, what other reason did you care to join us? Because there had to be a reason.
You mean Courtney, not me. I was supposed to be here tonight. I don't know about him.
Courtney, what is the reason for you with your presence, sir?
Well, Shane, the reason why I wanted to get on is I wanted to come on and talk about the preposterous booking of the women's Money in the Bank match. And I know you guys touched on it earlier, but I just,
I wasn't going to say that. And we talked about that like 25, 30 minutes ago. But go ahead.
It was just, hey, man, I tweeted about it, but I just had to get on the show and talk about how preposterous that was. Look here, you got the 5 ladies, wrestling their hearts out. It's a good match, flipping and hitting, running in the ladders and all that. And then you have this little ant, this little booger, this little no chin, no swag, having walking fecal matter, climb the ladder and poo-poo all over the match. And look, I get it. I get managers have done this stuff before, but you build this up like it's supposed to be all this big history, the first ever women's Money in the Bank match, and the ladies are actually putting on a good show, let them get their shine on, and then you have a man winning. Yeah, I sound like a feminist right now, but it wasn't even like a man who is good. Like, what the hell is the purpose for James Ellsworth anyway? I mean, why is James Ellsworth there? Like, is he even a good valet? No, he's not. So why have this guy who is now? If it was Tyson Kidd climbing a ladder and passing the briefcase to Natalia, that's one thing. We all know that they're married. You know what I'm saying? He's actually, good. He's actually, it's a reason why he would show up. But why on God's green earth do we still have James Ellsworth anywhere near anything that's anything of note on SmackDown? Why?
First of all, show some respect for a former guest of Hit the Ropes Radio. You don't come on here bad about the James Ellsworth, okay? Second of all, he's actually pretty good at the valet thing. He's cheesy and corny, but it actually works. Now, I agree with all the other stuff you said, but again, we talked about that already. So we let you have your little soapbox where you can rant and be and moan and carry on. So
now get off the show.
How about I say now leave? We don't have anything to add to that because we already talked about it, bro.
And Shane also, in addition to using the word preposterous, which yes, I did want to get on to use the word preposterous. Hey, did Charlotte pull off another impeccable move? Huh?
Oh, God.
Huh?
What did she do? Another moonsault?
Dog. I mean, Charlotte's moveset is spectacular. It's, I can't, there's nothing I can put above it, other than Naomi. That's it. All right, guys, I'm out of here.
So what we've learned is Courtney read a dictionary before he came on air tonight, and he wanted to use all the big words that he learned before he came on. Impeccable, preposterous.
3 syllables or more, Courtney is going to be using them. All right. Thank you, Courtney. Your input was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Now leave.
Hey,
All right. So next week we have the rematch for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Stokes, how do you think it's going to play out?
Well, so here's the thing, right? If Carmella doesn't win, it's kind of jacked up. Like I would kind of, even though she won it cheaply, right? I would kind of feel bad for her, like if she didn't win. But I don't think she's going to win. I think somebody else is going to win. And I don't know who. I mean, obviously, you know what though? Honestly, I'm ready for the WWE to give Natalya her just due. It kind of seems like she always gets the short end of the stick. I know she's been champ before, but during this whole women's revolution, she hasn't really gotten a push, and I think WWE should throw her a bone, man. I think it's Natalya's time. I would like to see Natalya win, but we'll see. I don't know. We could see a surprise entrant. I saw that in the chat room. People were talking about Nikki Bella teasing maybe being involved with the match on last Sunday. Maybe you see a Nikki Bella. Could Maria make an appearance? I mean, you got those angles as well. But I'm rooting for Natalya, but I somehow don't think she's going to win it. Or at least I don't think WWE is going to do that. But I would like to see her win it.
Yeah, Natalya is very much past due at this point for some shine in the WWE. But I'm hoping and praying, as much as I was not picking her in, going into the pay-per-view, I'm hoping and praying that they find a way to have Carmella still come down with this briefcase, because I accepted the fact that she got it. I accepted the fact. You have Naomi, who's a babyface champion, though she keeps putting herself in harm's way by granting Lana these freaking rematches. So yeah. I'm just waiting for the surprise roll-up.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might see it next week, man. She might win the belt next week.
So you have this babyface world women's champion. So I expected a heel to win it, and I I don't think, I discounted Tamina. Tamina was not going to win it. She hasn't put enough work in. She's been gone off camera for so long, and her daddy and all this other stuff. So
she's very nice, though. I
was,
met her at Access when we went those many years ago. She's very nice.
yeah. I remember meeting her as well, and but I wasn't picking her. I wasn't picking Carmella either because I'm not the biggest Carmella fan. With the little pest named Ellsworth, I feel that it can work where she has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and this whole thing can work. I just hope that she wins this rematch. I hope she wins this rematch.
Yeah, she's an annoying heel. I think that's what she has going for her. I'm not a big fan of hers either, but I think that's kind of part of her appeal. She's like extremely annoying. When she comes out and does that moonwalk, oh my God, I just like what a like, but yeah. So from that standpoint, to kind of have the antagonistic heel with the annoying like Stooge and Ellsworth, that dynamic with Naomi would probably be good. So, so while I'm rooting for Natalya, I guess now I'll say I wouldn't be surprised to see Carmella still somehow pull it out.
Yeah, she's gonna have to do it without James Ellsworth though, because according, I believe on Talking Smack, DB banned him from ringside. So I don't know how Carmella is gonna use her devious ways, but maybe somebody else interferes on her behalf.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. Maybe Cass does. No, I'm kidding.
help out his real life woman.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but she could have somebody else come out and just prove that she's the princess of Staten Island and she has people at her beck and call. I don't know. Is she Italian? Maybe she's a mob princess. No. But we had a rough start, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are not going to hear the rough start because you're listening to the podcast, but we had a rough start. But we have come to the end of the road, aka Boys to Men. Stokes, one last thought. How excited are you to see the return of Braun Strowman and this ambulance match that we have coming up between him and Roman Reigns?
This has been like the longest feud in like recent memory. Like him and Reigns have been feuding. They were feuding like before WrestleMania. Do people realize that? Like before the Undertaker came on the scene, because the Undertaker doesn't appear on Raw. He wasn't appearing regularly. They had to have something for Roman to do. He was feuding with Braun. Now we're almost at freaking SummerSlam, and Braun's back miraculously. Oh my God, he was supposed to be out for 6 months. That was such a lame lie. I think that was like Corey Graves who said that, or Booker T. I can't remember, but probably Corey Graves. So I don't dislike Braun Strowman. I'm not like as big as high on him as I think a lot of people are. But he's growing on me. I know you're a big fan, Shane. But I'm excited for the match. I like Roman Reigns. I mean, everybody hates him, but I like a lot of the things that they're doing with his character. They're kind of playing on that hate that the fans have for him, and he's kind of coming out in these promos, and he's been money lately. So I like Roman Reigns. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the ambulance match. I think if they're setting up Brock versus Braun at SummerSlam, we'll probably see Braun Strowman go over. But I guess it's a good thing he's back. I'm not like mad that he's back. Gives Roman Reigns something to do because he was kind of in limbo. So yeah, it's good to see Braun back.
Yeah. I'm a big Braun fan. Wasn't before. When he was with Wyatt, I was not a fan. Once he hit Solo and he started murdering people, and then he's doing freaking kip-ups and all of this as a big man, I became a huge Braun Strowman fan. Yeah. So I'm happy that he's back. I'm happy that this feud is going to continue. I'm hoping that he beats Roman Reigns in the ambulance match. I'm not a fan of ambulance matches. I'm not a fan of stretcher matches. I find those matches to be stupid, where I have to beat you to the point where I can just push you into an ambulance or push you over a line. I don't care for those matches, but I know that these guys are going to be physical. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that Braun wins so that he could become the heir apparent number one contender and then go on to face, hopefully, Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
But I really want to see Samoa Joe stay in the main event picture. He's doing such good things right now.
I'm not saying that Samoa Joe comes out of the main event picture, but I'm hoping that Brock finds a way to retain the title at Great Balls of Fire. Stupid name. I hope he retains the title, and we find a way to get Strowman versus Brock at SummerSlam. If they want to go triple threat, I don't care, but I just want to see Braun in there with Brock. I'm looking forward to that.
They should save that for WrestleMania, but that's just me.
There's a lot of rumors already swirling around about WrestleMania plans.
Yeah,
whether they go back to Roman and Brock again. There's a bunch of stuff. We'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on another wonderful Wednesday night. We will see you next Wednesday here at 9 p.m. on YouTube. If you miss us on YouTube, please catch us on Google Play, iTunes. Give us 5-star ratings. Podcast apps that you download your podcast. There's just so many.
Stitcher. We're on Stitcher as well.
Stitcher. I have. There's Podomatic. I have Castbox. There's just so many different podcast places. All I can say is just download us and share us and keep following us. Follow us on Twitter at Hit the Ropes. All right.
Indeed. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. As always, engaging conversation. Shout out to everybody in the chat room except Courtney. But everybody else, shout out to you guys.
Yes, the chat room, you guys were impeccable. All right?
Not preposterous. Impeccable. Courtney is preposterous.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Peace out.